We have a new moon happening in the sign of Scorpio on November 1st of 2024, which is bringing back themes of intimacy, intensity, and maybe obsession. So whether this is affecting your love life, your home life, or something else, it is very, very prominent energy given that Scorpio is just so intense. So in this video, I want to give a quick breakdown on what to expect with the new moon in Scorpio happening on November 1st and what you should know. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Isabelle, your spiritual rebel friend, and today I want to do a quick recap on what to expect with the new moon happening in Scorpio on November 1st of 2024. Unfortunately, I'm a bit late to the game with filming this, so I'm going to make this report a little bit quick. Also, given the fact that I have not been able to seriously upload any of these videos from where I'm living, so fingers crossed this one uploads, but I'm guessing that if I make it shorter, it is more likely to upload, just because it's less of a file. So we're gonna make this pretty quick. Now, before I dive in, if you want more of a specified horoscope, book or reading in the link in the description below, and we can also talk about other upcoming events that are affecting us, as well as events that are already taking place. Not only is there a new moon in Scorpio right now, but Jupiter is retrograde, which can be intense for quite a few people. And I believe, as even more of a big deal, I'm gonna double check my exact date on this, but we did have Pluto entering Aquarius, which is a big, big deal because it is going to be in Aquarius for good. Let's see here. Jupiter. Pluto enters Aquarius on the 19th. So not quite yet. According to my note, it doesn't enter until the 19th, but we have it happening very soon. So this is also a big deal. So I want to talk about, though, specifically for today, what to expect with the new moon in Scorpio. And like I said, this is going to be a short report, but I kind of just want to give it from my personal interpretation on how I'm using it, because we recently had eclipse season, which was very dramatic, and even the full moon in Aries, which might have been intense or aggressive for a lot of people. I think from what I've heard, a lot of people were doing a lot of healing work during the full moon in Aries, but I would be curious to hear, what were you experiencing during the full moon in Aries that we had about 2 weeks ago? What was going on for you? If you want more information on exactly what was going on then, check out my video. I know I'm going to forget to put the card in, so someone comment below and let me know that I forgot to put the card in on the full moon in Aries video. But as far as the new moon in Scorpio, the new moon in Scorpio is happening at 9 degrees of Scorpio. So if you use the Placidus system like I do, check what house that is happening in for you. Where is 9 degrees of Scorpio in your chart? What house is it in? For me, I am curious to check for myself, and that'll help me kind of interpret how this is going to be affecting us. 9 degrees of Scorpio for me is my 11th house as a Sagittarius rising. If you use whole sign houses, it's going to be easier to figure out what house Scorpio is in for you. So just look at what house Scorpio is for you. But regardless, 9 degrees. A new moon is a new beginning. It's when the sun and moon meet. And I really want to recap what exactly a new moon is, because we know new beginnings. It's kind of a no-brainer. But the sun, this is an aspect between the sun and the moon. The sun is our ego and vitality, and the moon is our emotions. And so when we have the sun and moon meeting in a sign, what this really means is a ground zero point between our emotional body and our emotional desires and our ego and vitality. The things that give us strength are also the things that emotionally make us feel good. So we're on the same page. These two separate aspects or main parts of our being can come together in harmony around a new desire. And this desire will be something that plays out over the next 6 months, but also the next 2 weeks, because this is a new moon, full moon chapter that'll play out. We'll have a new moon in Scorpio and a full moon in 2 weeks. And we'll also have eventually a full moon in Scorpio during Taurus season of 2025. So this is something that will play out over 6 months and also 2 weeks. Scorpio is the archetype of investigation, analysis, or not analysis, that's not necessarily a good word, investigation and intimacy. Scorpio represents the journey that we hit in our lives where we've formed superficial relationships with everyone else and the world, so to say. We've formed a sense of grounding over our reality. We just feel good. And now it's time for us to go deeper. Scorpio sees life as an iceberg and knows that only 10% of it is above the surface. So Scorpio's job is to be a deep diver who goes beneath the surface in the cold, icy, deep waters and see what lies below. So hence why Scorpio is the investigator, but also represents an emotional investigation, this intimacy. And intimacy is not just something we have with other people. It's not necessarily something sexual, even though Scorpio, yes, does rule over sexual energy in general. But it also means intimate relationship with ourselves. In the end, intimacy is the ability to be vulnerable and the connection that comes from that. So we can only be as intimate with other people as we are with ourselves. And so with the new moon that is happening in the sign of Scorpio on November 1st, we can be experiencing some new beginnings with intimacy, either deciding a new intimate relationship or stepping into new territory in intimacy and investigation. Regardless, there's themes of us going deeper. Now, the question of where you're going to be going deeper and who you're going to be going deeper with is going to be dependent on the house it's happening in. So if you're a Scorpio rising, for example, and this is happening in your first house, not your 12th house, you're going to be going deeper with yourself. And actually, even if your Scorpio rising didn't start until 20 degrees of Scorpio, and this was happening in your 12th house, this would actually still be themes of you going deeper with yourself, just deeper into your unconscious. You're going to be going deeper somewhere. Again, look to the house it's happening in, and you'll know where exactly. I would love to go into each of these go into each zodiac sign on how this is going to exactly play out. But I first just want to cover the general and give examples of how you would look into each house. So keep your house in mind as I'm explaining the following. But generally, this is a time for us to go deeper in some aspect of our lives. So I invite you to look at what house is happening in and ask yourself, how could I have a deeper experience in this area of life? And I think that is really the beauty of this new moon during this time, is understanding that there is a depth to be experienced from things. We can often, I think, spend our lives feeling very superficial because stability is valued. But occasionally, we want to go deeper. And we can find that even though chaos is chaos, chaos can bring a depth of experience, and that is needed. So it's possible you're going deeper with someone, or you're just getting more involved in something you're interested in or in that area of life. This could also be just investigation or obsession. You may feel more obsessive about a certain area of life. For me, I know this is my 11th house, so I could be feeling more obsessive about my purpose and my career and how those go hand in hand, because the 11th house often crosses over personally with my career. That's not necessarily for everyone. But regardless, my purpose could be accentuated. As far as aspects that are being made, we do have Mercury in the final degrees of Scorpio, which means that you maybe have done some learning, so to say, some extra obsessive research in the area of life that is in focus right now during this new moon. And so you may be finalizing that learning, finalizing that communication. For me, I know this could be a little bit romantic for me, also because my 8th house I'm an Aries sun, and so this is also happening in my 8th house, and so there could be a finalized communication with a certain person in my life, and that could be very cleansing. Scorpio is oftentimes, because it is death, it also can be that sense of chaos we talked about. And so since Mercury is in the final degrees of Scorpio, we could feel like there's been a bit of chaos going on in that area of life in which the house Scorpio rules over, or is ruling over Scorpio. So whatever house Scorpio is in for you, you may have had a bit of chaos in communication, yes, no's, and maybes, and lack of clarity with someone or something. And this could be finalizing and having a new beginning during this Scorpio new moon. Let's see, we have Venus in Sagittarius, and I think that kind of is a rule because Scorpio generally has a bit of sexual energy to it and often has to do with intimacy and intimate relationships. And so we may be feeling that we need a sense of freedom in our relationships. So that might be something to keep in mind. The new moon in Scorpio also forms a good aspect to Saturn. So the decisions we make during this time, the new beginnings we initiate, could be aligned very well with our energetic responsibilities. We're setting boundaries potentially during this time, forming depths, but that are in alignment with what we truly need. The North Node is also kind of an aspect here. It's kind of a weird aspect given that it's not a direct opposition, but overall, I would say that this would be something I would keep out of the picture personally. We do also have actually more, I would say importantly, Mars in Cancer, in the final degrees of Cancer, which I'm pretty sure it's going to go retrograde any day now, if I remember correctly. But given the fact that Mars is in another fellow water sign and it forms a trine to Mercury, we could also be taking action that is in alignment with what we need during this time. So new moon in Scorpio, new beginnings related to intimacy, obsession, investigation, something that brings us deeper with life, doing something that brings us deeper in life. Chaotic communication over the last 2 weeks or so, or lots of miscommunication, lack of clarity, finding our way out, taking action to find our way out and communicate clearly. Overall, I would say that's the biggest energy. As far as though what exactly to do, because I know that I've said a lot of new beginnings and stuff, here's what I would ask myself during this time and what I'd invite you to ask yourself. What does intimacy mean to me? And one, whether you're in an intimate relationship or not, do I feel like I have the intimate connections I desire? Whether that be though with others or with a friend, what do I want as far as intimacy? How can I be more intimate with myself in order to cultivate the intimacy I want with others? And this, I think, applies regardless of what house this is happening in for you. What does it mean to have a deep human experience? How can I fall more deeply in love with life? How can I be more invested in life? And what do I maybe feel called to obsess over during this time? What has been going on maybe in my life over the last 2 weeks that has felt unclear? And how can I lean into that obsession in healthy ways? Those would be the key things I ask myself during this time. So really quick, I'm going to give a recap for sun and risings, kind of in case you don't know how to read a chart, how to figure out what houses is happening in for you. I'm going to start off with Aries just because Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. If you're an Aries sun or Aries rising, most likely, and I say most likely because if you use the Placidus system like me, 9 degrees of Aries could be, or 9 degrees of Scorpio could be a different house. But if you're an Aries sun, and Aries rising, this is happening in your 8th house of intimacy. You're having something happen with your intimate relationships. If you're a Taurus sun and Taurus rising, this is happening in your 7th house of one-on-one partnerships, marriages, friendships. If you're a Gemini sun, Gemini rising, this is happening in your 6th house of health. You're maybe having something obsessive happening with your health or your routines. If you're a Cancer sun or Cancer rising, this is happening in your 5th house of romance, new romantic opportunities, or creative opportunities, creative obsession. If you're a Leo sun or Leo rising, this is happening in your 4th house of home and family, something intense happening with your family, meeting intimate new connections through family members. If you're a Virgo sun or Virgo rising, this is happening in your 3rd house of communication and everyday learning. Something's happening with your mind. What is going on with your daily mindfulness practice? What is happening with your daily connections? Maybe meeting a new intimate connection through a daily network, like a neighbor. If you're a Libra sun, Libra rising, this is happening in your 2nd house of wealth and worth. Something intense is happening with your new beginnings with your self-worth or your finances, obsessing over your finances, obsessing over your self-worth. If you're a Scorpio sun, Scorpio rising, this is happening in your 1st house of identity and appearance, deepening your relationship with yourself. If you're a Sagittarius sun, Sagittarius rising, this is happening in your 12th house of the unconscious, diving deep into your unconscious mind, overcoming unconscious beliefs, new intentions around that area of life. If you're a Capricorn sun, Capricorn rising, this is happening in your 11th house of purpose and community. You're either having a deeper connection with friend groups and community or deepening your connection or obsession to your sense of purpose. If you're an Aquarius sun, Aquarius rising, this is happening in your 10th house. I've never processed that Aquarius technically will have a 10th house of Scorpio. That's interesting. If you're an Aquarius sun, Aquarius rising, this is happening in your 10th house, obsession with your career or intimate connections through your career, new beginnings here, diving deep. And if you're a Pisces sun, Pisces rising, this is happening in your 9th house of purpose, travel, learning that shapes the identity. You're deepening your human experience through travels or through learning about religion and questioning your ideologies. I feel like that was actually a really good, pretty thorough horoscope considering that I sped through that. Of course, there is a lot I missed. There's so much that you can go into with contemplating this. So I invite you all to look at and research what that house is that the new moon in Scorpio is happening in. Again, this is happening at 9 degrees of Scorpio. So making sure that even though I said that for your rising, that it's most likely happening in those houses, but like my example, technically that would be a 12th house horoscope, but actually if I look at the exact degree, it's an 11th house. So it's more like I'm a Capricorn rising. So double check the house that 9 degrees of Scorpio is happening in and research what that house is about and ask yourself how you can deepen your experience with that area of life. And maybe if you're feeling called to be obsessive in some way, or maybe you have intimate connections coming up in that area of life. Do note that Scorpio does mean that it can be a bit too obsessive, too chaotic, or too mistrusting, and that could be an energy that comes up for you. But I would love to hear in the comments below what is coming up for you with this new moon in Scorpio. What intentions are you setting? Please use the contemplation/journal prompts that I've offered because I love them and I think that's the best thing you can do during this time. Let me know if you like them. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and if you want more information on your specific horoscope, what is coming up for you during this time, or if you want to dive deeper with yourself just in general as you feel called to do maybe during this Scorpio new moon, then book a reading in the link in the description below. If you want to learn how to interpret for yourself as well, be sure to check out my course, The Master Astrologer, where I teach everything that I know about astrology and how I've become the astrologer I am. You can get 50% off by commenting the words Master Astrologer in all caps in the comments below, and I'll send you the information on how you can get 50% off the course. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I sincerely hope you enjoyed. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. I know I'm talking fast, and stay tuned for more videos. Let me know what you want to hear next on the channel. From my heart to yours, thank you once again. Namaste.